Aloha, my friends. Thank you for taking a moment to spend time with me. I just wanted to give you a quick synopsis, not only of a book I'm reading, but how this particular book I'm reading connects to the environment in which we find ourselves. Currently, the book I'm reading is called The Evolution of Civilisations by Carol Quigley, and this copy, I believe, was written in 1981. I believe that's when it was published. However, I'm not 100% sure. That being said, let me jump into a small little snippet that really grabbed my attention, and it really made sense of what is happening in the country of the U.S., the West, and around the world today. I'm curious if those of you listening will find it to be eerily similar to what is happening as well. That being said, let me go ahead and just jump into this little snippet now, read it, give you some commentary, and see what you think. Here we go. Every civilization must be organized in such a way that it has invention, capital accumulation, and investment. Remember, those are the three pillars. Loosely speaking, the term instrument of expansion might be applied to the organization for capital accumulation alone, although strictly speaking, this organization should be called the surplus creating instrument. This surplus creating instrument is the essential element in any civilization, although, of course, there will be no expansion unless the two other items, invention and investment, are also present. However, the surplus creating instrument, by controlling the surplus and thus the disposition of it, will also control investment and will thus have at least an indirect influence on the incentive to invent. This surplus creating instrument does not have to be an economic organization. In fact, it can be any kind of organization: military, political, social, religious, and so forth. In Mesopotamia civilization, it was a religious organization. The Sumerian priesthood to which all members of the society paid tribute. In Egyptian, Andean, and probably Minoan civilizations, it was a political organization, a state that created surpluses by a process of taxation or tribute collection. In classical civilization, it was a kind of social organization, slavery that allowed one class of society, the slave owners, to claim most of the production of another class in society, the slaves. Like all instruments, an instrument of expansion in the course of time becomes an institution, and the rate of expansion slows. This process is the same as the institutionalization of any instrument, but appears specifically as a breakdown of one of the three necessary elements of expansion. The one that usually breaks down is the third, the application of surplus to new ways of doing things. In modern terms, we say that the rate of investment decreases. If this decrease is not made up by reform or circumvention, the two other elements, invention and accumulation of surplus, also begin to break down. This decrease in the rate of investment occurs for many reasons, of which the chief one is that the social group controlling the surplus ceases to apply it to new ways of doing things because they have a vested interest in the old ways of doing things. All right, how does that sound? Because it's about to get really good and explain what the hell is going on. They have no desire to change a society in which they are the supreme group. Moreover, by a natural and unconscious self-indulgence, they begin to apply the surplus they control to non-productive but ego-satisfying purposes such as ostentatious displays, competition for social honors, or prestige, construction of elaborate residences, monuments, or other structures, and other expenditures which may distribute the surpluses to consumption, but do not provide more effective methods of production. When the instrument of expansion in a civilization becomes an institution, tension increases. In this case, we call this tension of evolution. The society as a whole has become adapted to expansion. The mass of the population expect and desire it. A society that has an instrument of expansion expands for generations, even for centuries. People's minds become adjusted to expansion. If they are not better off each year than they were the previous year, or if they cannot give their children more than they themselves started with, they become disappointed, restless, and even bitter. At the same time, the society itself, after generations of expansion, is organized for expansion and undergoes acute stresses if expansion slows up. Let me read just this one little blip again and tell me if this is not exactly what the hell is happening in our world right now. The decrease in the rate of investment occurs for many reasons, of which the chief one, and I believe the one that's happening here in the United States, is that the social group controlling the surplus, the Federal Reserve, the banks, the politicians, the World Economic Forum, the CEOs, the board of directors, this conglomerate of one percenters, the world leaders, be it presidents, prime ministers, CEOs, think World Economic Forum, think Trilateral Commission, think the Council on Foreign Relations. These are the people that are actually running the governments of the world. That is the social group I'm talking about when I say that the social group controlling the surplus ceases to apply it to new ways of doing things because they have a vested interest in the old ways of doing things. They have no desire to change a society in which they are the supreme group. Moreover, by a natural and unconscious self-indulgence, they begin to apply the surplus they control to non-productive but ego-satisfying purposes, such as an ostentatious display, competition for social honors, prestige. Think about Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson racing to build a giant rocket that looks like a huge dick and shoot it into space. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? How does that help humanity? We're not going to Mars. Like, there's people raging in the streets right now. There's no health care for people. And the people with the most money are off building their hobbies. They're fucking doing shit that doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. The world is on fire right now. And there's a group of there's a group of fucking goddamn world leaders that don't give a fuck about their people. Have you guys seen what's happening in France? Have you seen what's happening in South Africa? The world's on fire. And the media just pretends like it doesn't matter. Hey, look at these guys going to space, man. Isn't it amazing? I'm so tired of hearing about how competent the world leaders are, or how competent a CEO is, or how competent these board of directors are. No, you're fucking not. You're not. You were born on third base and told everybody you hit a fucking triple. Let me ask you guys this, for people who get up and go to work for a living. Like, how many of these so-called elites do their own dishes? How many of these so-called elites wash their own laundry? How many of these so-called elites know what a fucking gallon of milk costs? None of them. None of them. You don't hear about that, right? Imagine how easy your life would be if you could focus on one thing and had no interruptions. Imagine if you didn't have to do your own laundry or do your own dishes. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, these are grown men and women babies. They're an aristocracy. There's no difference between these billionaire class, the media class, and these top 1% people than there is between Prince Harry and Prince William. Right? And it's becoming ever clearer that the only way to make it there is to have a family lineage. Like, why should fucking Prince Harry and Prince William be princes? What the fuck have they done? Nothing. The same reason that Biden, Obama, Trump, like, these motherfuckers haven't done anything. They don't even do their own laundry. The people sitting in boardrooms are not competent. They were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, and they do not deserve the chair in which they sit. They do not deserve the authority in which they have. And I think it's going to become painfully obvious to everyone in society that we are led by the least among us. Thank you.